YouTube, this is Dr. Ashley and her makeup, and thank you for stopping by today. And you know I am here for the makeup. So today we are talking about the new Huda Beauty new nude palette. Say that again, new nude palette. Okay, she recently released this palette November 2nd, I believe, on her website, and then she released it at Sephora, which was last Thursday, where I picked it up. And I picked it up because at first I really wasn't interested in it. I'm just going to be honest. I was like, that looks boring. That's what she came up with. Okay. I mean, it's not so much it looked boring. Let me just retract that. It's just that I just really wasn't interested. It really wasn't piquing my attention. And I just think the photos were really not doing it justice. So once I started seeing people's looks and their videos on it, I was like, oh, that palette is packing a punch. And dare I say that the punch that these reflective shades are showing, this is like my equivalent of what Naked Cherry by Urban Decay would have been. So I'm talking today, again, like I said, about the new nude palette by Huda Beauty, which looks like this. And you know, you are no stranger to seeing her face on her palettes, especially her bigger palettes, her lips on her lip products, her eyes just here on her eyelash products. And so usually on the bigger palette, she has put her face and she has her eyes here. And then you have nude written right here in this holographic lettering, and then you have nude in between with Huda Beauty. So I think the packaging is very nice, and it came the envelope that I was like, do I have it? I tossed it, sorry guys. But the unicarton that it came in was beautiful, and I did take some pictures of it, so I'll insert it here for you so you can see what it looks like. So once you open it up, you have, I'm gonna open it gently because as certain I'm always dropping something. Okay, I'm back. So the little card actually swapped out. So this is the card that I was trying not to drop. That drops, that protects the shadows. And then you have 18 shadows right here with 5 different finishes, and you have a nice big mirror right there. I do not want to blind you. As you know, Huda Beauty's big palettes retail for $65, which makes them pricey. And this palette has 18 shadows. It is stated that it is the nude eyeshadow palette with 18 high pigmentation, easy to blend, talc-free shadows. 18 shadows, like I said, once again, 5 ready to layer shadows, 10 buttery mattes, 4 multi-reflective shadows, 2 glitters that are pressed, 1 pressed pearl, and 1 concealer base. So yes, you heard right, there is a concealer base in here, so that would be what it counts as one of the shadows. So technically it's only 17 shadows, and if you take out the glitters, there are 15 shadows. But the glitters are beautiful. As you can see, I have in the middle of my eye, kind of carried all over, because I was like, ooh, it's pretty, I'm going with it. So at first when I saw it was a concealer base, I couldn't even tell that on the photos, but as I started watching a couple other videos, I was like, oh, it's a concealer base. So I did use that in my demo, as you can see, as my base, instead of using my other concealers that we use as a primer. Now I think that is kind of a cool idea, and you can use it to cut your crease or to set your eyelids before applying your shadows. But I'm just really concerned about the sanitation and how long that will last. If it's going to turn grimy, is it going to turn funky looking? Is it going to catch dust? Is it going to catch mold a little bit faster? So make sure you store this palette in a cool, dry area. You do not want to keep this palette in the bathroom, just because it's simple fact that there is a cream product in there, and the cream products will definitely catch the moisture a lot faster than a powder product. Now the 10 mattes, they are buttery, they are smooth, and just know I do have like a more of a final thoughts part after my demo, but I did not have a problem building up any of the mattes. I think they perform very well, and I'm going to go ahead and do some swatches with you, because I know a lot of people are very much concerned about these shades right here, which are the 4 multi-reflective shades that you see right here that look very chunky. But I promise you, they are not chunky. Later on in the next segment of the video, I'm going to compare them to like the rose gold palette, the original, that definitely has some chunky shades, and then also a couple of the mattes with the Desert Dust palette. So let's go ahead and get swatching. Now, you know these names are a little cheeky, so I hope not to offend anybody when I read these names. So I'm going to go ahead and get the swatching for y'all. Okay, so starting with the shade, we have Bear. This is Crave, which this shade is one of the shades that appears to be chunky. As you can see, it's not applying chunky. And that is one of the high foiled shimmers. Let me get the exact name for you guys. That is the multi-reflective ones right there. And you see that one is the one actually I have right here in the inner corner that has some duochrome action going on. Okay. Then we have the shade called Play. Then this is another multi-reflective shade. This one is called Fantasy. Back so you can't get my light right there. Then we have Love Bite, which is another matte. I'm going to swatch that one more again for you. That was kind of a bad swatch. There you go. Then we have the shade, it's called Spanked. Shade is a little bit lighter. I'm going to give it one more go. This is the shade Lace. More of a lavender purple. Then we have Daydream, which is another one of those multi-reflective shades. Look at the foil. Look how smooth. Look at that. Oh my God. Like, I'll have to insert a close up because I know my light is kind of blinding. Step it back so you can see the metallic. Okay, my arm hurts, y'all. Then we have the next shade, we have Tickle, which is more of a shade. It's kind of blending in with my complexion. I'll swatch it one more time. And I know it's not even showing up well next to that shade. And then I'm actually going to swatch the glitters separately so you can see them perform by themselves, because they do have like kind of like a gel base to them. And then we have the shade Kinky, which is a pressed pearl, kind of a satin finish, which is beautiful. I'm going to skip the concealer base and I'm going to come back to that shade. And in true fashion, I'm like down to my elbow. Can't ever get it right. I guess I'll flip and go this way on my arm. Now we have Secret. We have Tease. We have Raw. We have Charmed, which is another reflective shade. Look at the shine. They're smooth, y'all. They are smooth. I would tell you if this was hard to work with. Oh my God, that shade Raw is. Not Raw, sorry. That shade Charmed. This is Raw. This is Charmed. Like I said, the names are cheeky. I'm sorry. And then we have the last shade, Teddy. And these are the swatches of the regular shades. Okay, so now I'm going to do the pressed glitters and the concealer shade. Okay, so this is the shade Conceal. And it's sticky and it's a white base. So that is Conceal. And then this is the shade Excite. Looks like this when I pick it up. I'm just smoothing that glitter out. Very pretty, very reflective, very smooth also. And I will compare that glitter also with that one that's in the Huda Beauty, the Desert Dusk, because clearly this is Huda Beauty. And then this is the shade, the other pressed glitter, and this is the shade Infatuated. And this is the one I actually have on my eyelid. They're very smooth, very foil, very reflective. as you can see. And I will insert a picture so you can have better look at the swatches. So as you may or may not know, Huda Beauty also came out with brushes with this launch of this palette that are exclusive only to her website, which is shophudabeauty.com. And she had this concept of a brush called like the Fender Blender, because you know how you use your finger to pack on certain shadows because they are hard to pick up with brushes. It's like the same thing that would pick up. So it's actually kind of that applicator, like that old school applicator that will come in a lot of eyeshadow palettes with a silicone applicator on the bottom. But if you have seen my videos, you know I have talked about the Sephora glitter liner. So it's the same thing, and it is a silicone liner, and these retail for two for $25. This is a smaller one, and one is a little bit bigger size. So I did not use it in this video, but when I come on and do my second look, I will test it out using the Sephora glitter liner to see if it makes a difference when applying these shadows. But when you apply this shadow, I would recommend that you use, like I said, this brush right here. It picks up very well. If you're a person also who likes to do your base first, I would be careful, because even with the multi-reflective shades, they are very, very smooth. But if you pick up too much, you will have some fallout on your face. Not to mention if you're a person like who likes to do one eye first and then go in with the second eye, like totally complete this eye, go in with the second eye, I would kind of harm against that, because like I said, you have the glittery shades that can kind of transfer up into your mattes, and it has that work. Now with this glitter, I did not use a glitter glue, and I think it worked out well. I do have a little bit of transfer, but nothing to make me go crazy. But I did have plenty of fallout on my face with the glitter, and it's probably because I just picked up a little bit too much. So make sure that you do your face makeup after doing your eyes. But okay, so now I want to go ahead and do some comparison swatches, and I'm really going to focus on the Huda Beauty Textured Shadows palette. This is the original Rose Gold palette that she released. This is her first palette. She had lipsticks, and she had the eyelash line before. So this palette, you know, it was very much hit or miss when it was released, and it cost $65, and everybody like, right, you know. And it was very much hit or miss because of this top row right here. Like I said, it's called the Texture Eyeshadows. And so, you know, these shades, if you can see, they're super, you know, chunky to pick up. So a lot of people are probably kind of worried that these shades have a lot of chunk in them that are in the new Nude palette. But that is not the case. So I'm going to take something that's kind of similar. So you have like the shade Rose Gold right here. I mean, they swatch, but as you can see on my finger, you can see like the shade is very, very chunky right here. And I'll show up the palette again. You know, it's super chunky. You can just see like the dents I have in it, and it wasn't even because I just like wholeheartedly used it. Now these shadows, they are pretty, but I mean, they are, it takes a lot of work. And you know, so like you have this shade right here. This was Rose Gold that was actually in the palette. You know, they swatch beautifully, but then as you can see when you look at the swatch, which is very hard to kind of catch on camera because maybe the shade is so metallic. Let me get a darker shade. I'm going to swatch Dubai, just so you see. So you have it on your finger here. It's very, I mean, it takes a lot. You really got to smooth it, and it is just not ideal for getting it on your eyes. So now I'm going to go ahead and take, we have the shade, I'll take Charmed, which is one of the multi-reflective shades. Just making sure my hand is dry after I wiped off my fingers. And so like you see right here, it's much smoother foiled application right here. And then as you saw before, look, so easy to smooth out. Like you don't have to work. Like I said, if you use a concealer type brush, it will go on very easy. And when I do my next demo, we'll find out if like those silicone applicators really make a difference. But I know like the silicone applicators do work with what's in it. Now I'm not going to really compare the matte formula in this one. I mean, I could to a degree to the new Nude palette, but these are more red shades, even though these are like mauvey purple shades, but the red and dark shades are much harder to formulate. But what I do want to bring your attention to, you know, in the Desert Dust palette, there is a pressed glitter in it. So, you know, Huda Beauty with the pressed glitters, I mean, you know, it's nothing new. She plays with a lot of different textures. So if you see, you have this shade right here, and this one is called Cosmo. I've actually never even used it myself. I do love this palette. My favorite shades are like Blood Moon and Turkish Delight. So you have this right here. This is called Cosmo. Picks up like this. I'm going to swatch it down here. Okay, and just off bat, she has like definitely, me just swatching this, and I have never actually swatched this shadow before. She has definitely improved the shadow. Like, Cosmo is actually kind of cute. Kind of think about it. I mean, that shadow is pretty. You can see, I didn't even dip I dipped it in, but I didn't dip it in that bad. But you can kind of see, hopefully you can't really see it, but it's pretty much of a good old, and then if I blow it off, like, it's a lot of stuff kind of flying there. Okay, but now you have Excite. I mean, they're just a lot smoother. You know, you have Excite, and they're more foiled. They're definitely more reflective than that shade Cosmo that's in Desert Dust. So overall, I am happy with it. I think it just brings something new. It brings something cool, you know, that with the pressed glitters. Usually when I work with glitters, I just really tend to work with like the Stila glitter and glows now, because that is just like glitter for dummies. It's easy. You don't have to worry about it, you know, sort of say. But I think that these glitters are very user friendly, especially here. They picked up on my brush very easily. I did not have a problem with it, as you'll see in the demo. And like I said, you have to be careful, because even with me with that glitter, there's a little piece of glitter in that shade. I will kind of clean this palette up. Like, it's going to be a beast to keep it clean. Like I said, okay, with the matte shade, she did actually add like jojoba oil into it, and also aloe vera oil into it. So it makes it very, very smooth. You can tell when you blend them out, they are smooth. So I also think that is an improvement. And, you know, you can check my final thoughts at the end of the video, but so far so good. You know, this is just a first impression. I'm not going to bring you something for the first time and be like, yes, it's a review. But go ahead and check out the demo. I hope you like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this demo. So here's the palette. Haven't touched it yet. And, you know, I don't even know if the camera can really do it justice. But I just wanted you to see it. So I do have my... my eyebrows are filled in. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Definer, and I'm using that in the shade Caramel. And then I did go through and clean up the underneath my eyebrows with the Too Faced Born This Way Concealer in the shade Butterscotch, because my eyebrows are a whole mess. So normally when I come in on right now, I usually have my eye primer on, and it's not on because in this palette there's actually a concealer base. So I want to give that a try out. I'm sorry, I'm just looking for my concealer brush that I just heard. Okay, so I found my brush. It was in my hand the whole time. It was like upside down with my brushes that I pulled out that I wanted to use. Anyway, we got it. So, and now I'm dropping stuff. What else is new? Okay, let's go. Maybe we can do better right now. We're claiming it. Okay, so like I said, there is a concealer base actually in this palette. So I'm going to go ahead and test it out. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet, only because I think it's cool, but I'm just worried about the sanitation with the palette. So this is the concealer base right here. It is called Conceal. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull it back so you can see it. It's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up some of that right here. As such. And let's see, I got it on my brush. It's on there. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead, put this down. I don't know. It feels sticky. And this concealer really is just for like a base. So I would not be concerned if, you know, if you're using this and you're like, oh, this is not my color. This is not meant to conceal. under your eyes. When a base is lighter, the shadows will pop more. So if you're darker, I would advise you don't be alarmed by that. So I'm going to just go ahead and focus on this eye. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to kind of tap that out with my finger so that we're not having so much of an issue with it. Tap it out. It seems a little sheer. I'm going to pick up some with my finger. I don't like to use my finger into my palettes, but I need more, especially where my little lines meet, because I'm like, it's going to be an oily, hot mess, and I don't want it to be a hot mess. So I can give you an accurate review. This seems to pick it up better. Tap it out. I know I've seen a lot of people are seeing just like things on Instagram or when Huda went through, like to really just focus this on the lid, but we'll see. But I have seen people actually prime their eyes with it, like I'm doing now, and I know they're also using it for cut crease. So it is kind of cool that you can know you have like everything you kind of need right there in that one palette, you know, because sometimes you do forget to bring things, but you know, usually probably your concealer, you probably have not forgotten to bring that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my, I got the wrong brush. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my Sephora and the brush, and then this is the brush number 10 right here. It's a big fluffy crease brush. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the shade, okay y'all, these names are a little cheeky. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the shade Secret. It looks like this. I'm going to tap off some of the excess. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And it's picking up pretty nicely. It's sticking to that base, so that's good. Do you see that? You know, this is a lighter shade. Something like the mattes, especially on this palette, are a little bit lighter. So that is something to take into consideration, which is also another good thing as to why there is a lighter concealer base in this palette, because it will definitely ensure that your shadows pop. But so far it's blending out very nicely. I'm not struggling with it, going in and picking up a little bit more. I don't have any fallout, and there is just a tiny bit of kick up in the pan, but nothing bad, nothing to write home about. And like I said, I'm putting this down as my first transition shade. And it is showing up and giving me a little bit of definition. So now I'm going to go ahead and go in with the shade. I think I'm going to go ahead and take, I think I'm going to take a little bit of Tease right here. And then I'm probably going to go with Raw. Okay. These names. I'm using that same brush. I'm going to tap it off. As you can see, it is pretty pigmented. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it just a little bit lower. Just building up definition right there. And this is with the shade Tease. Oh, and that's layering nicely over it. And they're blending out smooth. So I definitely appreciate that. You know, I think she mentioned she put a lot of oils in these palettes, so you can kind of tell this formula is not as dry as some of the mattes in her other formulas. So in her other, I'm talking about at least the big palettes. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and take a tapered, more of a tapered crease brush. This is the Sephora Pro brush number 19. This is a tapered crease brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Raw and just building up some definition. And here's the shade picked up on the brush. As you can see, it's pretty coated. I'm going to tap off a little bit of the excess. Not too much came off. And I'm just going to go ahead and focus that a little bit lower in the crease. I'm going to kind of place it, because the way my crease is set up, sometimes you just need to place it and then blend. And that is kind of fading into one shade, but it's blending well over it. So you kind of do see a little bit of gradient So it's actually working out very pretty. Like I said, this shade is actually pretty smooth as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take a clean MAC 224 brush, and I'm just going to kind of clean up this little area up in here. There, I'm not touching that little inside crease where I put the shade Raw. Just making sure this is so smooth up here at the top for blending purposes. Okay. So now I'm going to start working on this inner corner and over into the eyelid. Now there are like so many pretty lashes. Oh, I want to go ahead and go in with Love Bite. I do want to do that because that is like one of the deepest shades in this palette. So you have Love Bite right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take that with the Sephora. This is from the Magna collection. And this is the crease brush, but I love it for kind of stamping colors on the inside, on that outer corner. Okay. That picks up pretty well. You can see that definition it gave. And I'm just going to gently blend that out. I'm not going to take it too far in. Well, actually I'm now, but I'm keeping it a little bit further up so you can see it. But it's staying. It's not moving around. It's not like leaving. I appreciate that. Okay. But I was like, I'm looking. I was like, I feel like I have some glitter on my eyelash, but okay. I'm cool. So, now she does have like a special brushes to pick this up. I don't have the special brush, but I kind of want to test it out, which is a regular brush. But you also know, like, I do have the Sephora Pro glitter liners, which is the same concept as the Fender Blender. So I'm going to try it out. And I'm not sure where I want to go, but I know I got to use like one of these shades, these big foil shades. So let's go ahead and dive on in. I think I'm going to take the shade, let's see. I'm going to take the shade Kinky, which is the shade right here. And this is like a satin, I think, foil shimmer shade. And I'm using it with this Anastasia 18 brush. And I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, that picks up very nicely. Okay, that's very pretty. But for this particular shade, I wasn't really, I'm surprised. And I'm like pleasantly surprised. But the shades like that she has like this, like Blood Moon and Turkish Delight, in her Desert Dust palette, kind of pick up in the same manner. And I'm just spreading that evenly across the lid and taking it up above the crease. And then I'm wiping off that brush in my color switch right there. Look at that payoff. That is pretty. Okay. Now, I think I want to take the shade Fantasy, which when you swatch it, oh man, look at that. That is pretty. And I'm going to put it like in the inner corner. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use that same brush, the number 18, with Fantasy. Oh, okay. So those chunks, like, don't even be alarmed by those chunks because they pick up on that brush so smooth and flatten out. Oh, that picks up very well. This is not wet or anything. I'm just picking it up. And you can see it. Can you see it? You might not be able to see the corner, but you see it on the tip. I didn't pick up a whole lot, but you can see like that dot on the tip of the brush. And look how it foils on. I got a tiny bit of fallout, but nothing serious. And it's probably more my user error. And I'm picking up a little bit more of that shade. And this is what it's starting to look like. So it's kind of pressing out, but I haven't really like just dug into that shade. See right there. See what the brush is looking like. And I'm just still working. Okay, this color is so pretty. And this is the shade Fantasy. And I'm just putting that in the inner corner right here. So we're looking like about right here now. So pretty. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and take, I wiped the brush off and my color switch. I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Crave, which is this one. It's the same concept as the Fantasy one. And I'm going to pop it like in my inner corner. Oh, that's pretty. And the way it layers with the other shade is great. So these are like a sticky, denser shadow. Okay, so I'm about here. So now I want to go back in with my favorite little Sephora blending brush. And this is the 224 SE. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up more of the color Raw, which is here. This is more brownie color. And I'm just going to smooth that above where I had those shimmer shades into the crease. Kind of gives the illusion like I did a cut crease, but I didn't. And I'm just kind of blending that out into the corner tip, making like kind of like a point. And then that other little shade, Love Bite, is still hanging tough in that corner, so I definitely appreciate that. So I'm here. I'm tempted because I'm just like, I want to try out all the formulas in this palette. I do want to try out the glitter. It might be overkill, but hey, we're here. We're testing it out, you know. I'm going to go in with the shade Infatuated. And this particular glitter right here. Now, this is a pressed glitter. So I'm still using that Sephora 18 brush. I think this is like kind of my brush for this palette. Okay. Did I pick up anything? Okay. I'm just kind of swirling my brush in there a little bit, and I was able to pick it up when I swirled. So hopefully I won't have a terrible amount. And even when I knock it off, some of the big chunks do come off. Okay, and I'm just placing that glitter right. Oh, okay. That's not bad. Okay. It's like glitters are so messy. I've kind of just really become accustomed to using the glitters by Stila. Okay, that is very pretty. And it gives a nice sparkle in the eye. Do you see that? Sure, you can see it. It's like sparkly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I got the other eye going. I got my lashes on. I'm wearing little black dress, which is basically most of the lashes I've been wearing when I do lashes in my video. And I line my waterline. So this, I use this Nyx Vinyl, which is great because I use that glitter, and you know, sometimes it can be very hard when you're using like a felt tip liner for your liners to apply. And you know, it's Nyx, so it's definitely affordable, maybe $5, maybe not even $5. I don't even remember how much I paid for it. And I have my inner rim liner on, and that's the Sigma liner. If my lash looks like it's hanging on by a thread, I apologize. It really is. My eyes in the corner are watering. I don't even like filming really when my eyes are watering, but I was like, I really want to get this video up. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my lipstick, and I'm actually kind of keeping it in the same family. I have the Huda Beauty Demi Matte lipstick, and it's the shade Bawse, and it's a purpley plum color. I bought this a long time ago, and I put this in my backup drawer. I'm not even sure why it was in my backup drawer, and it's out of sight, out of mind in my backup drawer. I'm not going to use it, so I'm going to use it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this. Okay, so this color is very pretty. It's a little bit more burgundy for the look, but it works. I might just throw a little gloss over it just to make it. I'm trying to decide, do I like it? I like the formula. I'm just trying to decide, do I like the color combination with my eyes? But you know what, now that I look at it, I think I do like it because it's darker. The lights are a little bit lighter. You get that pop. So it works. Get me back in frame. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. I'm back. I had to get a pillow to sit on. You know I'm short. So I can get in frame and be in focus instead of in and out of focus. But what do we think about this look? I'm loving it. I think it came out gorgeous. I'm just really feeling it. Now, as far as my final impressions with the look, I really like it. I think it's very beautiful. I think the formula was very easy to work with. And so like I showed you in the beginning of the video, I have the two other Huda Beauty palettes, which is the Desert Dust and the Rose Gold. I have the Rose Gold original and I was not going to buy the remastered, and I was pissed about that. But I think because she put in the oils into this matte, like the aloe veras and the jojoba oil, and let's see, they work so well. And I just think that she did an amazing job with this palette. Honestly, like I remember what I said in the beginning, I think that this palette was boring when I first took an initial look, and this palette is really a palette that you have to see in person. It is stunning. It is gorgeous. It was very easy to blend with. I'm going to come back on here and do another look that's not so sparkly, but you know, Huda is she's no stranger to the mixed formula, so I actually appreciate that. It sets her apart and it makes it different from everything else that you have. I mean, we don't need the same of everything, so we can have different finishes in the palettes. I think that the concealer base right now, as of my first impression, it did a good job of helping my eyeshadows adhere. It was not hard to blend out over, and right now, as of right now, because this is the first impression, it is holding my eyeshadow intact. I did not have an issue with it. Now my concern again is with sanitation. You know, if this shadow, this concealer base, this cream product becomes funky and it looks like some stuff is adhering to it that I don't want to adhere to it other than eyeshadow itself, I will pop this out of the pan and keep it moving, and I will use my own concealer from then on. But other than that, right now I'm okay with it. Like I said, it works well for the moment. My eyeshadows do not seem to be creasing. They are holding in place, and like I said, it was very easy to blend, because sometimes, you know, when you're using certain bases or when you're using a concealer, you know, the shadows can very much skip over. But like I said, it's a testament to the formulation with her putting those oils in it. It just really helped those mattes blend so easily, very effortlessly, and they were able to blend it. I find that this color, it is, you know, the deepest shade in the color. I have it like on the outside wings. I think it did a marvelous job. It stayed in place even when I blended it out. Even though I do use that patting motion, but I also do that just to control the amount of color that I put right here. The pressed glitters, they're gorgeous. I mean, it just really packs that punch to the palette where it's nude, but it's exciting. And so I think that the two colors Excite, which is right here, and then the other glitter, which is Infatuated, it just really gives it a set apart to the palette where you can do so many things. You can wear this daytime, you can wear it nighttime. You got the glitters, you can package a punch. You're going to a holiday party, a wedding, anything like that. You have those punchy, glittery shades that have high reflectivity over it. Not to mention these pressed pearls. These, or sorry, not the pressed pearls, but the 4 multi-reflective shadows. They are very smooth. They are not like how she had those shadows in the Texture Rose Gold palette. Do not be alarmed. If you don't believe me, go in store and swatch it for yourself. They are very smooth. They're very easy to pick up on a brush. I found that the easiest brush is a brush that looks something like this. So this is usually a brush that's used for concealers. This is the number 18 concealer brush by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I believe MAC has one. I think it's called the 217 brush. Or you have any brush that's like flat, synthetic, smooth hairs. This brush works very well to pick up those those are the 4 multi-reflective shadows. Like I said, I swatched them for you beginning. You see they're smooth. When I picked it up, it was smooth. I just like to work more of in a controlled way because I didn't want fallout over my face. But like I have one right here, and then I have one on the inner shade right here, and then I popped the glitter on it. I had no problem adhering it. The mattes, like I said, they're smooth. They layered well on top of each other. Then you have this reflective shade right here. It's super smooth. And this particular formula is called more of a pressed pearl. And like I said, those particular shades never failed me when I used the other palette. I do think that we could have maybe a little bit of a deeper purple. I am really pleased with this particular purple right here. But if we could just get something a little bit deeper, just if you really wanted to glam out the looks. I'm not mad that it's not a black in here. I don't think we need a black. As far as bare, I could really do without it. I'm not interested in these brown bold shades. I can skip it. Now, as far as this palette, it can get messy because of all the different finishes. So like, I'm very light-handed with my makeup, so my palette looks pretty clean. But there are, if you were to zoom in, you know, it's a few little hiccups, but it doesn't look bad. I would be careful with this palette. If you're a person that's kind of heavy-handed with your makeup, I would use a little bit more care with this palette. Not just because you have the glitters right here, you don't want them spilling in. You got a matte shade right here. You got the shade called Kinky over here, even though that's a pressed pearl or more of a satin metallic if you're not familiar with her pressed pearls, but they're more satin metallic. You want to be careful. You don't want glitter all in there. You don't want glitter in your matte shades. You don't want it down here infiltrating your look. And you're just going to have to be careful. Not to mention with the concealer base as it is, this is a palette you're going to have to work a little bit harder to keep clean. So if you're not a person who is especially careful about your makeup, that might be an issue. But I think she hit it out the park with this palette. I'm impressed. I think the packaging is beautiful. I like the take on nudes. To me, I'm not really a nude shadow type of girl. So these type of nudes work well for me in my aesthetic. And when I think nudes, even though it's a mauve play, but I think it's just the palette theme and when she named the shades, and that it's just not so bright. But I mean, honestly, this is a glam look and you can wear it anywhere. So let me know what you think about it. Are you going to pick up the palette? Leave your comments down below. Please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to hearing your feedback on this palette and my look. Till next time, I'll see you later. And this is Dr. Ash, and I'm here for the makeup. And I'm glad that you stopped by today. And I don't know, I got to do my little dance for you, y'all, because you know I like to dance. But until later, bye.